you know, most people think that I'm like an extrovert, yo, and I'm not. Like I'm really an introvert. Like it takes a lot for me to like be around people. Like I love like entertaining people, making people smile, but it takes so much out of me, and I would rather like hibernate that I have to work myself up. So like, you know, when you know you're recording, it's like, okay, well, you know, when you get off or you get done what you're doing, you want to go hide and hibernate, and you can't do that. And it's like, yo, only my closest friends know that I'm really introvert, and everybody thinks I'm just like the life of the party. Like, yeah, I want to be in the corner, yo.
You know what though? I think that's creatives, period, right? Like the average creative, like for instance, like Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
She'd get on her stage, she'd take all her clothes off, she could grind on guys, girls, and then, but when she gets off stage, she turns into this mouse, and she's like, "Hi,
yeah."
You know, and you get really shy. So, so that makes sense.
I'm shy too, but everybody think I'm a flirt.
You probably are a flirt.
Yo, let's start the episode.
I am Shakeerah,
and we are just here for we episode 2, yo. We in there, yo. Thank you everybody for the feedback for the first episode.
Even
we're definitely they say once we get to episode 7 that we're consistent and we made it, but like we ain't even got no fans yet. As of this recording, I'm still
even published this yet.
This recording, I'm still working on the Instagram page, but yo, y'all gonna love it. And then like when we blow up, you wait, you know what I'm saying? And like we doing whatever we doing, y'all can say, yo, humble beginnings. And Shakeerah had like the extra fancy Erykah Badu background. But that's neither here nor
there. I got my candles lit. I got my coffee. I'm not going to really share who did it because they didn't pay us. So, but
yeah. We need that sponsorship love because I got some.
You know what I'm saying?
I got some gummy bears over here that I would love to get like the lowdown on. But we got some good things to talk about today. Definitely some things we definitely want to cover. I'm excited to hear Shakeerah's thoughts on not only this new Georgia bill, also the I want to talk about the great win that really has not been covered. The 4 people of color actually won the 4 main awards for the SAG Awards, which is usually like really good for the Oscars. We are of course going to cover the Derek Chauvin trial, which has been infuriating to watch, and just a couple more things. You know, with Culture Gumbo, we definitely just want to bring you a variety of things and not just cover one thing. We don't want to be boxed in, so you know, we're definitely going to get into it. So, Shakeerah, what we got?
Now, before we start, I do want to just throw up, you know, and I hope by the time this publishes that he is up and on the road to recovery. But I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, Dark Man, definitely.
So DMX is at this moment of this recording, he has been hospitalized and in a vegetative state due to a drug overdose, which I hope the person who sold him the drugs feels like dirt. And that, you know, that he recovers because he is needed for the culture. He is needed in this earth, and there's so many people that he hasn't even touched. Just, you know, his presence, his just his artistry, him as a man, him as a God-fearing man. So prayers up for X.
You know what? I think one thing that's amazing about DMX, and I mean, growing up as a kid, like that was like the get hype music. Like I still rap "What's My Name" like people rap gospel, sing gospel songs. But what's really dope about DMX is if you like watch interviews, you get to hear a lot of not only his pain, like he's very transparent about it. And hearing the story about, you know, how he initially got, you know, involved in drugs and became addicted is definitely sad, man. And it's, you know, it's one of those things where I definitely hope he recovers. He has so much more to give the world, and I'm definitely praying for an awesome outcome about that. one thing I thought was amazing was when they were showing everybody at the hospital and they were showing the Rough Riders down there, like, yo, the cops was outside of the cars while they was riding. I was just like, yes, like that's dope. So definitely need him back out here. So definitely prayers up to him and his family.
Absolutely. Now on to some topics Will have thrown out there. Are we going to go political first?
I mean, I'm ready for whatever, man, because at this point, Georgia can kind of kiss my ass.
Right. So Will no longer lives in Georgia, but lived in Georgia. I've lived in Georgia for a few years. My mom used to live down there in Atlanta in the ATL. And, we already know it's a Southern state. It's a Republican. Well, it's Republican brand.
Blue, baby.
And now they are trying to change the voting laws because of how close they call it of elections that happened in 2020. And now they want to make it more difficult. And I believe it's a specific attack on people of color, of all colors, because they're making the residency requirement. They have to have certain identification that they have to prove that they live there. And I believe a certain time they have to live there before they can vote. And then they're changing how absentee ballots is done, even mailing. And because that was so big in 2020, because you had COVID and people were afraid to go stand on lines and get, impacted or health risk related. And so I think that, by doing that, this is for them and not for us. And
there's really a lot of limitations there where, if you kind of look deep down, it's very clear that is voter suppression. What's very frustrating about the situation, honestly, is the fact that, we're fighting so hard to make everything a fair fight. We do everything we can. We vote. We go through the lines. People are standing there for hours, and I love to see that. I definitely don't want people to get discouraged by it. I think last I heard, I believe Biden was talking about getting the DOJ involved in this moving forward, and hopefully, some things can get done on it. But it's a clear sign, if anything, that you should know your vote does matter. If your vote did not matter, they would not be going through all this. They would not be coming up with laws. Governor Kemp wouldn't be doing everything that he's doing, and he's overseeing his own election. There's a lot of moving parts here. One of the things that we should definitely be excited about, I believe in 2022, I think Stacey Abrams is definitely going to run. And if that happens, I think that's going to be amazing. And we need to make sure that we get out there too.
For her.
Well, one thing is, it's really funny. I was talking to an older lady earlier today at work, and I was asking her what she thought about it. And she said, it's definitely unfair. But she said this, she said verbatim, she said, baby, she said, listen, Black people take chicken and juice to the movies. The hell makes you think we're not going to be even more prepared when we go to the polls? And I was just like, that's dope. That's definitely a dope perspective. So we definitely have to keep on fighting. You have to make sure that you vote on these local elections. As much as we want to vote,
and I said this the last episode. I haven't always been on the up and up in regards to everything locally that was happening. But and I remember a job I had around election time. And I had a coworker who said, I'm not voting because I don't really think that it's going to affect me. Now, she was not an African-American woman, but my thing was, it's always going to affect you. Because if it doesn't affect you and you die off, it's going to affect your children. And so sometimes people don't realize how important it is for them to vote not just because of them and the impact that it has on you, but what is it going to have 15, 20 years? Some of these laws changing is going to be a major impact to your future generations, or the people that you love and care about and the people that you quote unquote are protecting. So sometimes we have to stop thinking that it's just is going to affect my world, because it will down the road, because there's school legislation that, you know, different laws that pass locally, and whether you could pray or you can't pray in church, or whether you're not in church, in school, or if they're going to teach your, you know, 6-year-old gender, you know, about the sexual orientation before you do. All of those things, some people are also changing that too.
That's the thing now about that. I mean, we learned that pretty early in school.
And we didn't learn. You learned your body parts. You did in third or fourth grade. You didn't learn how to put a condom on.
Philadelphia city schools. I know we learned something.
I learned that, but I didn't. I learned that in maybe late middle school, like 7th, 8th grade, and not even high school. I would say middle school, 7th to 8th grade. We learned, you know, the whole banana or cucumber or whatever thing it was, of how to put the condom on. But now it goes much further than how to put a condom on. It goes to showing your kid videos of how to do the whole thing. And I feel like, I'm not a parent, but as a parent, I would want to be the one to share that with my kid, because I want to be the one to tell, you know, to talk more in depth, and, you know, but that's just me. Anyway, the point that I'm saying is that you need to be aware of what's happening locally around you, whatever concerns you, your kids, school, locally, gun laws, so much, voting. So the bottom line is, get out there and vote. Find out now who's running. Find out who you can put your money behind, you know, because at the end of the day, a lot of these people are elected because of money. It sometimes has nothing to do with what they care about.
I think the general consensus reminder here is as much as you want to vote for the big elections, and those are important, make sure that you take care of your local elections. Right. Your local elections are what decide the DA. These are people who decide basically who's going to jail, who's not. You want to basically take a look at the local laws that are done in your area. So let's just make sure that we're vigilant. Let's make sure that we're keeping each other accountable. And man, let's just get out and vote, man. Let's continue to swing these states blue. So
we're independent or whatever you feel, but just know the importance of it and the impact and why you need to do it. So
shout out to the MLB, man, for pulling the All-Star thing out. Yo, they were.
Oh, right. So, you know, and that says a lot too, because a big organization and corporation, as much money as the MLB has, like, to make a decision to do that wasn't an easy decision for them to make, but it was like,
but when you consider where they moved it to Colorado. Colorado has some of the same laws that Georgia's trying to pass here. So the MLB doesn't completely get off, but we do appreciate them for at least trying to you know,
take a stance,
set the tone on something. But I mean, sending it to Colorado was that made no sense. But you know, the verses that happened this weekend.
Okay. All right.
Look, I already see it on your face.
All right.
You out here reacting how Uncle Jones is out here reacting. Listen, y'all ready to risk it all for Papa Isley.
I didn't even recognize Ronald Isley, okay? At first, I turned the verses and was like, where's Ron? Like, I know it was originally but, you know, it was 3 of them in the group originally. And I'm like, where's Ron? And then I see other people commenting, like, where's Ronald? And people's like, he's got the beard. And I'm like, what? You ain't never seen him with a beard. So
comments, yo.
First of all, they killed it. They are in their 70s, okay? Yeah. Upper 70s.
No, I think Ronald is 80.
I think he's 80, rocking it. I was like,
He got like a
wow,
14-year-old.
Black don't crack for real. And if you take care of your health, it's even better. But that was like a whole music history lesson. Like I said, after I watched it, I was like, I'm gonna watch this again.
Yeah.
Because if you are a music lover, such as myself, like I was, first of all, I was a little annoyed by Steve after a while, but I couldn't blame him because I would have been fanning too. I mean, could you imagine being in front of live?
Well, that's a big deal for Steve Harvey, not only because he grew up on that music, but it was life changing. I mean, that's like all of our grandparents. Our grandparents will listen to music and be able to tell us a story. I kind of think Steve got a bad rap because, like, when Steve Harvey hosts something, how Steve Harvey's gonna host. We've all seen the original Kings of Comedy. We've seen various things of that nature. That's who he is. I do think that there were certain times where it was like, all right,
shut up, play the music. Shut up.
You can chill. I think D Nice did a great job curating, but I think people was a little bit hard on Steve, man. Like Steve held it down, and it was a moment. Like for me, that's like if Eddie Murphy come up and Eddie Murphy do party all the time, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have 15 stories too. You know what I'm saying? If Eddie Murphy do put your mouth on me, I want to hear all the 80s hits that Eddie got. And for Steve Harvey, that's what that was. So,
and it was great. It was. I was calling up my my bonus dad, I guess I'll call them, and my mom, like, yo, don't y'all got Instagram? And they're like, oh, I gotta find my password. They both have it, but they didn't. And I was like, y'all missing it. Like, your favorite groups are on. Like,
you can watch it on YouTube though.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share the link with them because they, that's who put me on. And it was crazy because most of the music is before I was even born, but I was a young kid that kind of, I ain't gonna put all my business out there, but I was a young kid that grew up playing the 45s and the vinyls. Like my mother would have people over to just party and drink, and I would be the DJ. Yeah. And I would pull out the vinyls and be playing, and I would be like 7 years old, changing the songs, and then they would go tell me different stories. So I understand the whole Steve Harvey thing, but so it took me back because it was like, I'm not that old, but I grew up to a lot of that music, and it's just, I wish I had a dance partner that night because I was like, dang, I'm about to get up here. And
I think what was great, for me, what was great was it was a great representation of the culture. Like when you consider where we were, a year ago from this pandemic, and you think about everything that's come out of it, from, club quarantine to verses to, I want to say DJ Cassidy started pass the mic around this time. We continue to literally push the culture forward. And we had that was another opportunity last night to create Sunday night to create like a really, really dope moment. And to have like D Nice curated, which like, D Nice is just my favorite. Like I want to do a sit down with him one day. Like I just think his story is amazing. I'm always going to talk about that. But to see them do that, and they went for about a good 3 hours. Like it was hit after hit after hit, and I was watching people score, and some people were scoring. Now I was just like, yeah, I don't think that's a score. I mean, you want to just do it for the love, but people were scoring it, and I think in the end,
you can't score that. You just can't.
I think in the end, if I scored it, but I think in the end, if I scored it, I think I had Earth, Wind, and Fire with the slight joint, but it just depends on how they played the songs.
Because Earth, Wind, and Fire, it was like Earth, Wind, and Fire had more dance tunes. You could get up, you could dance. Like they still had love music, but there were more like, let's get on down. And the Isleys, between the shit, like it's, you're gonna be.
I was watching people's reaction when they played Contagious.
Right, but how could he not? You know what I mean? How could he not? Like him and R. Kelly had a lot of hits. They had a lot of hits. You have to play. You can't deny the music. Now we can
I get
deny
that.
him,
I
but
get
you can't deny the music. So but overall I had a really good time. I would watch that on a replay 1,000 more times. And just the fact that they were in good health, and
definitely.
and they were able to, like, I would have not remember the lyrics to half of that music all those years.
I want
And
to see. I really want to see more of our hip hop people be in good health, like like that, and be able to do those things like that. Like I was, telling one of my mentor is a professor. He's like a hip hop historian, and I was telling him like, yo, we should really have like healthcare for like old school like hip hop cats, because you know what I'm saying, they sign bad deals. That's very different from the R&B guys today. They sign bad deals and they weren't given the proper love they should have been. And seeing that definitely encouraged me to be like, yo, that's something that we should definitely look into for them.
that would be amazing, because I think that's what happens. And then they didn't get the money that half of the people. That's why I was like 45 albums in 50 years. And the most of your top favorite artists right now has 2 albums and they're making millions. So
Yeah.
just that whole comparison, like they didn't have to work that. The people today don't have to work as hard as they did back in the day. I mean, I think they own their masters. So they still receive publishing from there, but I did want to hear them talk a little more, just to share, like, just what all this has done for all these years, and how they're in good health like that, being Black men and having to go through as much as they're going through. They're pop-pops now, so I enjoyed it, to say the least.
It was definitely a good experience. I'm definitely looking forward to the next. I can't remember who's coming up next, but I'm definitely looking forward to the next.
My favorites.
Who?
Red and Meth.
Are they next?
420.
But you can't really
Yes,
you can't really do that, because all they hits is literally together, except for like the Red's first 2 joints and Meth's first album.
Had the Red Tape. Redman had a good 4 albums, maybe 5, and then they had the stuff together, which I think is going to be really good. I'm excited. I'm from Jersey, of course. I'm a huge Redman, but I'm a huge Red and Meth man, so I like both of them. So I'm excited to see. It's going to be full of energy.
Yeah. I'm eager to see how that. I mean, well, if Raekwon and Ghostface went really well, then Meth and Red should go really well. I want to see SWV and Escape.
Oh, that would be dope.
I think they're gonna be that was gonna be really good too. But I think SWV gonna pull that out. I did
the whole thing last night with my friend. We were like, "Who would you put this and this?" And I was like, "What about Talib Kweli and Mos Def?"
Absolutely not.
Why?
Absolutely not.
Why?
That's because that's not.
Who would you put Talib Kweli with?
Honestly, I don't see Talib Kweli getting a whole lot of love with everything I think that he has going on. But if I was to put Talib Kweli with somebody, I don't know. You know what? It might be Mos Def.
I just couldn't think of someone else. But yeah, so I was like, that would be. Yeah, so, but it would be some really good ones, some Common.
Comedy is anybody that's gonna win. Who's gonna win? Common's my dude, yo. Comedy is anybody's gonna win. I understand with that beat and Finding Forever changed my life. Like listen.
All right.
All day.
I love Common. I
want to be as free as the spirit.
Anybody.
Listen, I sit up here and rap Common all day and be on my sauce. If I start dressing with the smaller shirts on, I'm a fat dude. I'll put the smaller shirts on, and is it really Dream Love? Like, I hit him with it. So it's whatever. Okay, but so Common against anybody gonna win.
He would want if Common was,
unless it's like Hove, like nobody's beating Hove.
Not doing it. But anyhow, okay. Oh, but I will say, I don't know if you caught, speaking of D Nice, since we were on that, I don't know if you call D Nice when he did it was D Nice. It was oh gosh. Okay, I'm drawing a blank right now to come
Oh,
back
Maxwell?
to me. Yes.
Yeah, I watched it.
Did you?
I watched it live. Them women that be in Club Quarantine. Shout out to Club Quarantine, because
yes,
I've actually, believe it or not, I've actually connected with a few of the people in Club Quarantine just from being in there, and it's some cool women.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's different. You know what I'm saying? That's something totally different. But yeah, it was great, yo. They was in there talking about batteries. Them women's in there losing their mind.
It was great, and Maxwell is fine. So,
but it's funny though, because like my favorite Maxwell album is not even his first joint. It's Black Summer's Night, the first one.
Yes, I'm a Maxwell.
They don't know that I can sing, so I'm not even going to give them all that right now. But yeah,
I love Maxwell. It was good. It was excellent. Okay. I'm talking about Maxwell.
My singing, it does it. My singing does it. They swoon.
That's what happens, and then they slide in your DM.
Listen, I don't make the rules. I just live by them.
Okay.
Oh man. Switching gears. What we got next?
You tell me.
You got a full list there.
I don't. You
got to be oh, you wrote everything down. Let's go ahead and discuss let's go ahead and discuss this Derek Chauvin case. Chauvin.
Derek Chauvin. I seen someone say everyone's mispronouncing it. It's murderer and it's French. That's what someone I seen in a meme. It was a meme.
You know, I promise friends that I will talk about it during the podcast. It's pretty infuriating just watching it, because personally, when I'm watching it, I feel like they're still trying to put George Floyd on trial. And it's like George Floyd is not the one on trial. And then it's like you keep having these, like, they keep calling witnesses up, and they're calling the witnesses up, and the witnesses are telling you, this is what I saw.
This is what happened.
And you're asking them 15,000 questions to try to get them to alter their answers. There was one gentleman up there, a black man, one of the witnesses, and he tried to, the defense tried to get this guy to come off as an angry black man. He was like, you said this, and you said this. And he was like, you're not going to depict me as this angry black man. And you have to understand, what we're seeing right now is literally what happens on a consistent basis daily in the judicial system. And it's not even to say that, it's a woe is me thing. We literally watch a murder happen on camera. Like there's no sugarcoating around it. We watched the murder happen on camera.
From the other angle, I wanted to just like crawl in a hole, like seeing it from the other angle, from the cop side, from the body cam.
Yeah. We watched the murder happen literally during the pandemic. We went through it, and so now as the trial is happening, we're all reliving this again. Like, I don't think people understand the PTSD that comes up behind it. Like the same feelings that we've had are not only coming back, but they're coming back even more, because now we know, like, we're hearing it, they're confirming it. Right. And what's infuriating to me, and I hope people begin to understand this, is that Black people are not making this up. Like, we're not out here just like, oh, the cops are killing us. Like, you are literally seeing it. Like, and all of his people are throwing him under the bus. I mean, they're asking them questions, and they're like, so is this whole how it's supposed to go? And they're like, no. I mean, it's literally what it is. I'm prayerful that this comes out and he is convicted, because unfortunately, if he's not convicted, and I don't wish anything or anything, it's there's gonna be problems. There's gonna be issues. Like this stuff is gonna get worse. So it has to be one of those things where this has to be the first step, because it can't be so blatant that you still let him off for it. Yeah, I don't
say it. The sad part is this was like the pilot's already been lit. It's been lit for years. And then this case, this happening to him, to this man who did not deserve it at all, just kind of turned it into an explosion. And then after the explosion was all these other little fires. And thereafter, and still up into today, of Black men dying by the hands of authority. And we've seen, in so many cases, the Sandra Blands and the just everybody that, I really just pray we get justice. And not like, throw them to the wolves, like just throw them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't wish death on anybody, but I don't wish death on someone that did not deserve it. Child did not deserve it. And now she has to grow up without a father. But more importantly, like the outcome of this, it just shaves the skin off of the United States, based on what this outcome of this trial is going to be.
There has to be a universal change. Not to cut you off. There has to be universal change, because between this and the Asian hate that's happening right now, watching a video of the older lady being attacked by the man, and then they just shut the fucking door, like come on, like,
and they treated him like he was a victim.
You know what I'm saying? You've got that going on. You've got voter suppression going on. You've got all these number of things going on, but then you'll tell us that there's not an issue of race, that people aren't racist and that these things aren't happening. Like, we're not making this up in our head. Like, people are literally waking up and they're fearful, not only of dying of COVID because of the disproportionate things that have happened in the economic parts of their community, but now you're dying from going to the store. You're dying from literally
playing basketball.
It's everything, and it's always easy to gloss over it, and every few months it seems to be something different, and we laugh and joke about the Karens and things of that nature. But something's got to change. America has a lot to deal with, and me personally, I've always said, and we're only 2 episodes in, so what the hey? There's a whole FBI building named after J. Edgar Hoover. If you don't do your research,
take it down.
That's just being honest. And if the second episode literally is like, yo, that's heavy for the, but it's
reality. It's reality.
And until we deal with the things that have happened in this country long before us, we're never going to get to a point to where it's like, oh, okay, there's no racism and race relation is like, it's just not going to happen. So,
and and even beyond looking back, like, what about the mindset of the young generation that's being breeded by the same racist pricks? You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of people that are under 20 that are racist. There are, like, it's and they don't, that is taught. I don't care what nobody say, but it does date back so far. It's gonna take it's going to take a long time. And that's the reality, but it can happen. I don't know if it's going to happen in my lifetime. I don't even feel confident that it will, in all honesty, because it's been for so long. We are the biggest sought after group that there is. Okay, they will kill us and sell our body parts because we're that valuable. We are valuable.
By
And
the time,
go ahead.
I think with like you said, it won't happen in our lifetime, but I think by the end of our lifetime, which hopefully it's not, it's like from years to come. I do hope that we make significant change because we have been the generation to do a lot, and we have stepped forward, us and the generation after us. I don't like to say like millennials and Generation Z because I don't know who's who. I just know that there's some kids who eat Tide Pods and there's some kids who grew up before the internet happened. So I don't like to.
It's a new name every year, so I really don't know. The ones underneath me. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Shakeerah said she worked for the George Bush administration when she was doing that.
No. Oh. Okay. So I had a friend watch this podcast. I'm gonna just interlude right in here, sidebar. And she told me that I was right because she listened to it and she was like, it wasn't Bush, it was Clinton. It was Clinton that was in office, and that's who you work for. And I said, yes, it was Clinton. Thank you so much. So I worked the polls for Clinton. Okay.
You worked the polls for Clinton in 96.
I didn't say 96.
It had to have been 90. Are we talking about Bill?
Yeah.
Okay. Bill ran in 92 and 96.
I said 90. Didn't I say 98? All right, I'll go back. But either way, I did work the polls, and it was one of my first times voting. And that because I voted at 18. Bill was the first that I voted for.
You were 18 in 96?
I was, I don't know. I was 17.
Y'all need to go back and have another conversation because somebody ain't right. Either somebody ain't right or you out here leaving and you dry snitching on yourself in the podcast.
No, I definitely voted for Bill Clinton, just the FYI. Okay, anyway. All right,
so we go
back to the next subject.
We'll move on to the last subject of the day. I definitely want to talk about this SAG award wins. For the first time. Exciting. There's 4 people of color who actually won the top awards for the Screen Actors Guild. Of course, it was Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey. There was Daniel Kaluuya for Judas, and there was Yoo Jung-yun, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, for Minari.
I didn't see
she's a wonderful Korean actress. She was actually on Good Morning America. I got to see her.
4 Black people.
No, 4 people of color.
Okay.
Which is unprecedented. Like it's never happened before.
Wow.
I think the most we've had before was maybe 2 or 3. I know Viola Davis is actually up there as far as her wins. Yeah, Viola Davis is actually up there in her wins, but for the other 3 to also happen, it's good during Oscar season because usually Oscar season and the SAG Awards kind of go hand in hand. I think 7 times they were completely right, and I think 1 or 2 times there were like 3 of them, 3 out of the 4. So the belief is that if not all 4, at least 3 should win during Oscar season, which we know Oscar voters are completely out of touch because the older white guys who don't want to watch anything but Clint Eastwood movies, and they firmly believe that Liam Neeson can come and find you and kill you wherever you are in any movie, including the Disney movie. So I think this is something great. Definitely a great way to continue to celebrate the life of Chadwick Boseman, which I mean that hit me so hard. And every time
I almost cried when his wife spoke. Like
she just spoke recently at he won a NAACP award also. and she just spoke, and she talked about people getting checked for cancer screenings.
Yeah, that's her message, and I love it. I love it. I love it.
So what do you think are the odds that all four are gonna pull this out?
I think 3 out of 4.
You think 3 out of 4? I think all four should do it.
I think they should.
I mean, it's kind of hard to go against.
But Asian will win.
It's kind of hard to go against any of the films. I mean, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, that's both Chadwick and Viola. They literally swept award season.
And he killed that role. So did she. Like, they did amazing. Like, there was no hands down.
Daniel Kaluuya, which, I mean, Judas and the Black Messiah, that put you in a place right after you saw, like, you was ready to go out and
but it's
right after.
It's pro. So I'm on the fence if he would get that.
And Minari, which was actually a really great film as far as the feedback they got on it. I haven't seen it yet, but it's like a love story. And it's like a coming of age love story, but it's like done really well, and I believe it has subtitles on it also.
I love subtitle movies.
Dragon Ball Z. I don't. But I'm excited to see this one. I'm actually planning to see this one with a friend this weekend, who was actually able to get a lot of these films. So I'm hoping that all four win. I'm hoping that it begins to set a precedent for a precedent for.
Time. It is time. It's overdue, honestly.
But if it doesn't, the question I do ask is, do we continue to still support the Oscars?
First of all, we've been quote unquote not supporting the Oscars for the last few years, but still supporting because they cut a lot of I'm not a huge Oscars fan at all. Let's just put that out there. Like, I do believe that there is very biased. I do believe it's very racist. I do believe that they don't give the artistry of acting, those that really put their heart and soul into a lot of roles. So I didn't really watch the Oscars like that this year. I don't think I watched it like that last year either, because I really have just been turned off by the Oscars because of, even though the years are progressing, I'm not 100% sold that they are.
Right.
Kind of like government, it's like, well, we got to give these Negroes some space. We got to give these colored folks some accolades. So let's just go ahead and, throw them a bone. But it's not throwing them a bone. Like, they work really hard. They bust their butt. They get into character. They do everything that the next man do, and they're better. Yeah. Not all, but I'm saying, the ones that I feel like should have won that didn't in the past. So, next episode, let's see we're gonna touch back on this, because I'm interested to see if they give us a bone, if it's out of pity, but not out of what it should be based off of, which is their merit, their hard work, their acting.
It ain't fair until you give Angela Bassett her Oscar for playing Tina Turner. Okay, you gave old boy the Oscar for playing Abraham Lincoln, and he didn't even have to do nothing.
Oscar for being gay. I mean, what's his name? I can't think of his name. It was I gotta come back to you. I don't have a good name like that.
They snubbed Malcolm X, which Malcolm X is like
that should have
in the National Library now, but whatever. So we'll see. We'll see what happens if they snub us, and if not,
I just feel like no matter what the role is, no matter what the character is, give them their flowers, because it's long overdue, and I feel like there's a lot of, actors that deserve it, and they should do a redo. Like, let's rewind. Let's go ahead and give them their flowers right now while they're here. Don't wait till they die and then you want to put them in some Hall of Fame.
I think Purple Rain should have got the Oscar for Best Movie in '84.
Well, they ain't giving him that.
But
I don't know if that was loved by all audiences, though.
How can you not love seeing Apollonia jump in?
That's you.
The waters
That's
of Lake Minnetonka.
That's not everybody.
You got to see Morris Day do the bird. Really?
That's not.
You sound like you sound like you hating, yo. But you was working for George Bush.
I love that movie. I love Prince. So
you was working for George Bush in the 2000 election.
That is not true. Now it's 2011. Cut it out. Anyway.
Well,
this has been a really educational, informative, very review oriented podcast this week. I think it is necessary for us to switch it up and kind of make sure that we're in the now. I'm talking about what people are talking about. We're talking about people talking about, and we're giving our take and our spin on it. Yeah.
I'm excited. Episode 3 coming up. We'll probably have a logo by then. Maybe Instagram page, or maybe a couple other things.
Maybe.
We're not gonna get too far ahead of ourselves.
Maybe. We could do that.
Whatever.
You know what I mean? Like
maybe like an intro. We can come into like party all the time. You're a hater, Shakeerah. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Culture Gumbo Podcast. My name is Will.
My name is Shakeerah. We appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe.
And as always, keep the main thing the main thing.